everyone. Scott Hansen here from NFL Red Zone. I hope you're checking out 1 hour of 5 Yard Rush, one of the best podcasts on NFL football in the UK.
Hey, what is happening, Rush Nation? We are back. We're back with a live draft, and it should be a good one. I'm not alone. Don't worry about that. I have brought an amazing friend with me who I got to see last weekend at the Scott Fish Bowl Live, and someone who has created a lot of content in this space, but has switched to a golf involving a smaller ball and a hole. So I'll let people work out what that is. In the meantime, it is my great buddy who has had some phenomenal wins over the years, giving us lots of betting content. It's Jack Humphrey. Welcome back to 5 Yard Rush. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, thanks, Murf. Thank you for having me back on. I think this is my fourth or fifth time on this, so yeah, I'm honoured to be back.
Yeah, I mean they used to do like match like hat trick balls when on a few shows, didn't they, back in the old days? But no, don't have the budget anymore, unfortunately, for that. But but anyway, if I had something, I certainly would. But you've joined me for a mock draft, which is great. We're going to do a 1 QB PPR. We do have one spot remaining, which I'm just sort of waiting. Or we're going to wait about 2 minutes, and if not, we'll just have it with a ghost, and so be it. We got 11 people. I'm pretty happy either way. Just before we get started, what is new with you, buddy? You've got a bit of a year, and you seem to have come out the other side of that happy, healthy, and in a really, really good spot from when I saw you, and lots of people commented the same on Saturday as well.
Yeah, a bit of a rough year. I had some personal things going on in my life. Probably done what a lot of people do. I turned to something, which was alcohol. I was drinking way too much. But I think a lot of people do that when they're going through a lot of mental health problems. And I just got to a point towards the end of the year. I mean, I told you this on Saturday at the Scott Fish Bowl Live draft. I got to a point at the end of the year where I just kind of had enough of how my life was going. I'm quite a strong-minded person anyway. I think you know that, Murf.
100%.
So it took. It's hard to me as well, because mental health. Like, I never used to really think it was a thing. Especially, I never thought it could happen to me until it did, and then when it did, as I said, I turned to drink, and I got towards the end of last year, realised that I had a problem, stopped drinking entirely. I just went cold turkey on it. I just stopped drinking, and I haven't drunk for 7 months now. And I mean, you saw me on Saturday. I was drinking Corona Zeros. Quite happily to have a couple of Corona Zeros now, but. I've just turned my life around. I realised that I had to replace the drink with something to keep my mind active, and I turned to the one sport that I've played since I was 7 years old, and that was golf. I've always loved golf, as many people know, and I replaced the pubs with golf, really. So I go to the driving range 3 or 4 times a week. I play once a week at least now. And I've just turned my life around. My business is going well. I've got back into content creation, which, like you, I absolutely love to do as well. Mainly golf. I have been doing some NFL stuff as well, and that will ramp up as the golf season winds down, which it will pretty much wind down after the Open Championship, to be honest. But so my NFL content will certainly ramp up again. But I just think, like, for anyone that is going through a hard time, it's hard to, like, I know as well as anyone that it's hard to speak to people, but there are people out there that are willing to help, especially friends. Like, I could name a couple. Like, you're one of my closest friends in this space, Matt Cullen. People just, none of you guys probably realised what was going on with me, but there was messages of support every day from people, and I don't forget those people. And it's a true saying, when you're going through your darkest times, you realise who your true friends are. Put it that way.
Oh, mate, 100%. I think that, I think a measure of friends and friendship is they're there for the hard times, not just the good times. And so, it's not always like you need to, it's not like you need to, how do I put this? It's not like you need to be there every day or drop a message every day, but it's just, you just drop in every now and again, send a message, just let them know you're thinking of them. And, you don't have to do anything great or special. I think, and I went through my own troubles and it's been pretty well documented. So I'm not going to make this about me, but I almost think there are people out there that try and overwhelm and almost give you too much support. Like they're just checking in on you almost too much, and it's like it's almost like claustrophobia. Like it's like, and I don't know about you, and maybe you have a different answer to this, but the struggles I had was the identity to like a disease and an illness, and for you, I imagine it was an identity to alcohol.
Yeah,
I find that some people who only kind of associated you with that tag have kind of fallen by the wayside now and are just like, well, you're not drinking anymore, so you're not part of my life kind of thing? Or do you find that most people have been more supportive?
no, definitely. Like I say, I've definitely lost friends because I don't go to the pub anymore, or I don't go to nightclubs or casino, whatever. Like I don't go to them. Like I don't. It's not that I can't go there. I can go there, as I proved on Saturday with you guys. Like I can quite happily go into a pub, have a Coke or an orange juice or a 0.0 beer. Like I'm quite happy doing that. But yeah, those people are the ones that have probably just left. And like I say, the people that I was getting messages at 1 a.m. off people, and these are people that have only met me once or twice, and they were just saying, "Are you okay?" And I wasn't okay, but I was telling them I was okay. But it's them people that have really helped me and got me through. But yeah, my darkest times. I think everyone. I don't know about you, Murf, but I think everyone goes through it differently as well. Like for me
100%.
personally, I had to hit rock bottom to pull myself back up. And I think it's a different process for everyone. But just if I could take anything out of it, I just make sure you speak to your friends. Just like you say, it doesn't have to be every day. It can be every other day, every couple of days or whatever. Just send them a message. Just check in on them. They might tell you they're fine, but just that message. Like I said, them messages I was getting at 1 a.m. in the morning. People that were sending them do not realise how much they helped me.
Mate, it's great to hear. Yeah, I think it is each person is different. I would say just do a check-in if you can. And yeah, like for me, like I think you always kind of know, depending on the person. Like with me, like I just went very quiet, very insulated, and I just didn't really want to talk to people. Because I just got sick of saying the same thing. And I think as you said, it's like even though I wasn't getting back to people, the fact that people were messaging me and showing me they cared, that really meant meant a lot. So like I think that is just as important as anything else, to do that. And just check in, because even if they don't respond, it doesn't mean they don't care, and it doesn't mean it's not had an impact. It's just they're going through some stuff, and I think that message of support is massive. It's also great, like you're so brave talking about it on here. Like we appreciate it, because I think there's a lot of people that are struggling with alcohol, with gambling, with whatever, with mental health.
Yeah.
And I think people just, the more people talk about it and say it's okay, like it's normal to have these difficulties, these challenges. It's, you're not alone, I think is really important, man. So I said this to you on Saturday, that you look incredible. Like you just look so happy and healthy, and you look $1 million, man. Like I looked at you, sober life suits you. you are looking absolute like top, man. Like you look amazing.
I appreciate that. I really do. And I feel 100 times better, and I'm very happy and content in my life right now.
Yeah, as someone said, And great message, Jamie. The hardest steps are the first ones, anyone struggling. Yeah, absolutely. I think it is.
I'll tell you what, just before I know you want to jump into the draft quickly.
No, we're good.
I saw a quote the other day, and it just never rung so true. If we're lucky, we get 80 summers in our lifetime. And that quote really hit me the other day when I saw it, and it's so true. We have to enjoy life while we're here, and enjoy it and enjoy every moment. There's going to be hard times. There will be hard times for everyone. Everyone goes through hard times, but we do have to enjoy life and enjoy it with family and friends. That's the best way, and doing what we love to do, content creation and watching sports and things, just everything we love to do.
Absolutely. And it's just being with friends, family, and doing all the things you love to do, whatever that is. I couldn't agree more. What I love to do is do drafting and draft with friends. So we are going to kick this off. We're going to just do a 1 QB. And we'll talk about our picks as we go through, talk about some of the picks that we're liking on the board. It's 30 seconds per pick. We're going to rattle through this. We put ourselves at opposite ends. It gives us time to talk in between. I haven't had a 101 all year. I'm probably not going to have a 101 for the rest of the year. But because of the fact it is a PPR, I am going to take Jamar Chase as the 101. Probably because I never just really get to draft him. I thought, well, do something different. It's between him and Barkley for me at the 101. Like, I'm comfortable taking either. I think you've got that high ceiling of chasing that value with Chase because of the big playability, and that Bengals defense is garbage, and it's going to be garbage. So I feel like they're going to need to chase a lot of points. But if I'm comfortable with Barkley, I don't have Bijan there as the 101, so I'm happy for someone to take him there. Yeah. If you were on the 101, who would you take, Jack?
Yeah, I'm the same as you. Being between Barkley and Chase, I probably would have took Barkley. This is a redraft PPR league. That's what you're going to see it here with me now. I'm going to probably go very running back heavy. So anyone before me that wants to take running backs, it might be a good idea. That is my general strategy in a redraft league. Anyway, I would just go very running back heavy to start, and then pick up wide receivers, those deep threat guys that can boom or bust each week. That's what I tend to do towards the end of the draft.
Yeah, I think that makes complete sense. I think you and I drafted very similar ways. So there was another reason I put us on complete opposite ends of the board. So otherwise it could just get a very wonky draft. I want this to be somewhat reflective. We might get our first time out here from Joel, although he likes to keep the clock waiting. It's been a fairly chalky first round, as you would kind of expect. Chase, Bijan Robinson at 2, Saquon Barkley at 3, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, Jameer Gibbs, Puka Nacua at 8, Amon Ross around 9, Derrick Henry by the auto pick at 10, Brock Bowers. You have gone Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I'm
just 12.
I'm drafting him everywhere this year. He just pulled in. He fell to me. I know you drafted him early in Scott Fish the other day, 104, I believe you were.
Yeah.
I took him at the 110 in Scott Fish, so I was over the moon to get him there. We know what his upside is, Sorry, I'm picking. I took Genty as well, but we know what CMC's upside is. He can be the number 1 RB if he stays healthy, and it's, that's the big question with him, if he can stay healthy. But with my approach here, you're probably going to see me take. I would, depending how the board falls, but normally I would go for about 4 RBs through the first 4 rounds, and then I'd start looking at wide receivers after that. So you'll probably, I like to lock up 4 stud running backs ready in redraft.
Which I think it's kind of been interesting the last few years. I actually think the position is much deeper this year than it has been in previous years. So I kind of look at this and think, I get it, taking 4, but I actually think this year the guys you can get in round 4, round 5, I actually think are people that you can really lean on and get good value on at the running back position. And I almost feel like you could get away with going 2 or 3 running backs early and then going and hitting the wide receiver position and get some of the elite production before it flattens out. Yeah, no,
you could. That's the fun part about drafting, right? You can certainly go any other way.
Of course.
I'm just going to adopt an approach that has always sort of worked for me.
I love it. It definitely does for me as well.
And I just take gambles on those deeper threat wide receivers that that have them boom bust weeks, and that may be because I play a lot of daily fantasy as well. That might be a bias that comes into it, because that's what you tend to do in daily fantasy. You take the guys that have the potential to boom or bust each week at the wide receiver position. But that's kind of how I approach redraft as well, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I'll rattle through round 2 once I've made my my picks here.
I love the Niners this year as well. If they can stay healthy, they've got a very easy, favourable schedule. I know we had this conversation the other day. I offended you saying that they play the NFC South and the AFC South on their schedule. So
the rest of the NFC South is absolutely toilet. The Buccaneers will be a tough game, but the other 3 are absolutely terrible. Didn't offend me by saying that. I said on here the other day that I think actually it was Bob Lugman that said it, not me. So he said that it's the worst division in football, and I can't really disagree.
Yeah,
I'm going to turn these noises off. No, I can't disagree with that. I'll rattle through round 2. Jack started round 2 with Ashton Jeanty, as he said. Then got Lab McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr., Nico Collins, Devon Achan, AJ Brown, Lamar Jackson versus quarterback off the board, Drake London, Bucky Irving. We had a little RB run here of Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, and then over to me at the 212. I took Kyron Williams. Lots to talk about Kyron Williams and dropping because he had over 400 touches last year, and this whole history trend of 400 touch players don't do it the following year. And I go, yeah, I mean, that's fair. But, I just think some running backs are different to others. And I think if there's any, you could buy that history trend as much as you like. It's from the same people that say don't draft running backs over the age of 28. And that isn't really panning out for people. I then went and took Josh Allen as a second QB off the board at 3-1. I was hesitating over somebody else, but I decided to gamble and see how the board would fall. I just feel like at 4-12, the top 4 quarterbacks as it's panned out would go. And then it's then I'm punting our QB. So it's either take my QB 1 or punt the position. And I thought, well, he's fallen to me at 3-1. I'll take it here. If he'd gone in the second round, I wouldn't have been that disappointed. I'd have gone in a different direction. So it's fine for me to take him there.
I've probably gone early there on Kenneth Walker, but
I don't think you have.
I think the Seahawks are going to run it down people's throats this year with their new OC, head coach, etc. I love what they're doing at the running back position this year. I'm taking Zach Charbonnet very late, often in drafts as well at the minute. So.
Yeah, I do like him. I do like Kenneth Walker. I took him in Scott Fishbowl. You got through. I think I don't have any problem taking him where you've taken him. I look at who has gone in that round. I'm taking Ken Walker over James Cook. I'm worried about the James Cook touchdown efficiency. I'm taking him over Breece Hall. I just don't really want part of the Jets this year. I probably would take him over Chase Brown. I think that's a personal preference. I don't think I have as strong an argument to take Walker over Breece Hall. Breece Hall, I think, is getting impacted by Justin Fields.
Yeah.
That offense struggles to put up points. So for me, I'm definitely having Ken Walker over both those players. Chase Brown, I have him over them. But if someone said to me, I'm pounding the table for Chase Brown, I can't argue it. He's on a better offense. I get it. I think the only thing I'm worried about with Chase Brown is, again, the same reason I took Chase at 101. I think the offense is it's going to be behind so much. The game script's going to go against Chase Brown. I think it's my only concern on him. But, I see the way it's going. The player who was contemplating a 3-1 has gone off the board, and that was Alvin Kamara.
Okay.
I'm really aggressively ranked Alvin Kamara last year. People didn't like him. But that Saints offense is so bad.
Yeah.
There isn't anyone on that team that is worth having other than him and Chris Olave. So it's just volume town. I'm he could get hurt. People are like, the wheels are going to come off. And I'm like, that's totally fair. But I just don't see it the way other people do. That I think that as long as he's fit, he'll be fine. I'm having a look at what we got here. This is where we start to get to a bit of a weak part.
After Rushy Rice, after the news.
No, I know, but I knew that anyway. In my ranks in the early season, I put a 4 to 5 game penalty on him with the injury and his suspension. So what that might pivot me to do is I might just go Worthy on the grounds of if Worthy starts the season well, he might just hold on and Rice could just be a bit of an afterthought. So fourth round went Tyreek Hill, Hampton, Mike Evans, Chuba Hubbard, Alvin Kamara. Great pick, Aaron. Alvin Kamara at 4-5. I do like that. George Kittle, Isaiah Pacheco, Joe Burrow, Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore at 4-11. I think that's great value for DJ Moore. I know Jim Coventry was on the show a couple of weeks ago and saying how good he is.
Yeah.
And saying he never finishes outside sort of the top 15 wide receivers.
I think I got him in the 5th round of Scott Fish, actually, DJ Moore.
Yeah. He's gone wide receiver 20 in this draft, which I feel is phenomenal value.
Yeah.
There. So I have no qualms with DJ Moore at wide receiver 20. I think he easily makes that return for you there. And then, Joe Mixon, I took at 4-12. Just because I think for me, there was 2 running backs kind of there, him and James Conner. James Conner's injury health was slightly worse than Joe Mixon's. So that's why I punted that way. And then Xavier Worthy, I've talked about. I think we're now into this range of the draft where it kind of just gets cooking for people. I will say there's been some picks here that I would say are a little against ADP. I'm going to highlight them and you can tell me your thoughts on each of these players, Jack. Probably the first player I would say is kind of out of kilter with ADP is Jonathan Taylor at the 210. What are your thoughts on him this season and where do you think he's going to land in terms of running back?
Sorry, who did you say that you cut out?
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I'm interested with the Colts to see what they do at quarterback, whether it's going to be Richardson starting or they're going to try the Daniel Jones experiment, which won't go well as a New York Giants fan. So I'm interested. I can see him getting a ton of volume. But then you look at the RBs that have come after him. Kyron Williams, you took. Would I take Kyron Williams over Jonathan Taylor potentially? It's a hard one. I don't think the Colts are going to be a very good team. Sorry, I need to make my pick.
Yeah, I was going to say you're on the clock, so I'll let you take over for a sec. I had until today, and I still have him because I haven't changed the ranks. I had Jonathan Taylor very aggressively ranked. I have him finishing as a top 4 running back this year because I assumed that Daniel Jones was going to get the job. I thought that Anthony Richardson's injury was going to prohibit him from competing for the job. And I know your thoughts on Daniel Jones, and they're absolutely valid. But Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson. And for anyone that wants to disagree with me, I am a Florida Gator fan. I watched plenty of Anthony Richardson. He came out of college 2 years too early. He was a very, very raw prospect, and the NFL is not the place to come and finish your learning. It's the place that you develop, but you don't come in to get ready to play in the pros. You have to be pro ready. He was not pro ready. And so there is a point of me that thinks that I just think that Anthony Taylor, that's because you're on here. It's a Freudian slip because of the amount of times you post about Anthony Taylor. Anthony Richardson is still, I still give the nod to Daniel Jones. If Anthony Richardson has the starting job, then my rank on Taylor diminishes significantly because I've seen this story play out.
I think that's where I'm at with it as well. Taylor, Richardson obviously has rushing upside as a quarterback as well, so he'll still work out off of Taylor there. If I'm going to be drafting Taylor early, especially as early as you've got him ranked, I want Daniel Jones under center.
Yeah, all day long. It has to happen for sure. But as you say, Kyron Williams, I mean, Josh Jacobs 211 is a bit of a reach for me. I think he's just a very safe player. Like, he's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I have him.
I'm worried about that Packers offense this year. I'm worried that they're going to regress, and I think they're going to be. I've actually got them. I was looking into some stuff the other day. I've actually got them down to be a bad team, and I'm hammering the under on them at the minute on their win total for the season.
What is their win total at the moment?
It's 8.5.
Yeah, that's tough in that division.
Yeah,
in that division with the Lions and the Vikings. That's
I've had a sneaky bet on the Vikings to win the division at 4-1 because I just thought it was very good odds. I'm very interested to see what J.J. McCarthy does.
We've got Kurt in here, who is a Vikings fan. Shout out to Kurt, winner of the Warrior Bowl last year. He very much is a fan of the Vikings, and he will be delighted to hear you say that.
It was actually sure. I put it in my latest NFL article. Actually, I just find it a very good value bet at 4-1. And a lot like the Lions have had a lot of coordinator changes this season, so I do worry about them. I think the Packers are going to regress as a team as a whole, and I'm not really worried about the Chicago Bears, but I just thought it was tremendous value at 4-1. So it's a bet that I've hammered along with that Packers under, like I said.
Yeah, and I get it. I think I really like JJ McCarthy. I like him more than I think most people did in the draft process. The amount of noise coming out that he was drafted in the top 10 of the NFL draft, I think that's perfectly valid for what he can do in that offense. You've seen that, the fact they were prepared to let Sam Darnold go. I think they will be better and more efficient. It's just, can they keep their receivers healthy? But if they do, I think they'll definitely be in a good spot for sure. Let's just catch up the 5th and 6th round. Xavier Worthy at the 5-1 is who I took there with the news of the Rashee Rice suspension, which I kind of expected all along. DK Metcalf at the 5-2, Devonta Smith 5-3, Courtland Sutton 5-4. These were all kind of similarly tiery guys, so it kind of makes sense. TJ Hawkinson at 5-5 feels rich. I think you could have waited on him, but I know Kurt's a fan, so fair enough. James Conner 5-6. He was the other player, I think, along with James Mixon, that I was kind of contemplating before. A bit of a teardrop, although you got the other guy we'll get to in a sec. Rashee Rice at the 5-7. I'm not sure if Arlie had seen that news on Rice or if he just wanted to gamble on it. Jalen Waddle at the 5-8, Sam Laporta 5-9, Zay Flowers 5-10, George Pickens, and then you finished off with Mr. Montgomery, who I love this pick. And then you went round and picked Pat Mahomes, and then when RJ Harvey signed his deal today, Javonte Williams at 6-3, got no arguments there. Trayvon Henderson 6-4, Calvin Ridley 6-5, Quentin Judkins 6-6 with the news of that history of race. He's on the same team as Rashee Rice. That's almost appropriate. Chris Godwin at the 6-7. I was kind of hoping he'd fall to the 6-12, which is sneaky annoying. Jordan Addison 6-8, Chris Olave 6-9. I think it's good value for Olave, considering how trash that offense is. It's just whether or not you can survive the year with a concussion. But if you can,
definitely. The next pick I was hoping would get back to me. I had a feeling he wouldn't, which was Kelsey, because I wanted the stack there with Mahomes and his favourite weapon. But yeah, unfortunately, he hasn't come back to me, so we have to rethink this one now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'll give you some thinking time where you pick. Ted McMillan, 6-11. I took Aaron Jones at the 6-12. Kind of felt for me that running back was kind of at the end, and I know there's some concerns about him, but I just feel like he was good value there at the 6-12. Jerry Jeudy is who I took at the 7-1. Toyed with him and Deebo Samuel. I leaned Jeudy. I just think I want parts of that Joe Flacco offense in particular. Travis Hunter at the 7-2. Deebo Samuel at the 7-3. Do like that pick.
Yeah, again, someone else that I've took in Scott Fishbowl quite late. I think I got him in the 10th round in Scott Fish. So
phenomenal value. Yeah, phenomenal value for him in the Scott Fish Bowl. Johnny Swift's 7-4. Tony Pollard 7-5. Corson Loveland 7-6 feels a bit high, but interesting if you're believing in that. Roman Dunze 7-7 I think is a good pick. Caleb Johnson 7-8. Jalen Warren 7-9. The computer took Baker Mayfield. The computer's taken only one running back so far It's gone very wide receiver heavy, which is interesting. Joel took Cooper Kupp at 7-11. Don't hate that pick. And then you have gone Khalil Shakir and Mark Andrews. Talk to me about your thinkings on Khalil Shakir in particular, because that is definitely a higher range than I've seen him. Not sort of an impossible range, but definitely a higher range than I've seen him in. And Mark Andrews as well, getting him at the 8-1.
I needed some wide receiver help on my team because I've gone very running back heavy to start this with. I just want wide receivers. This is what I tend to do in most redraft drafts. I just target wide receivers on offenses that are very sort of pass heavy, score a lot of points week to week, and that's the Bills. So that's the reasons really behind my pick there. I know there's a lot of mouths to feed in that Buffalo offense, but I like his role enough to take him there. And then Mark Andrews, I don't even need to explain that pick. I think you know why I took him there.
Yeah.
It's good value. I'm hoping we kind of get a bit of a bounce back season from Mark Andrews, who gets targeted a lot by Lamar in that offense. But, you know, we have got likely to deal with a little bit more now, probably more than what I would like, which is why Andrews is dropping in drafts. But I had to take him there. I thought it was too good value not to take him, and I needed the tight end.
No, that makes sense. We are starting towards the end of the 8th round. Yeah. Out of the teams drafted so far, if you had to switch yours with anybody else's, whose team would you switch with and why?
Jesus, let me have a look through these teams now. I wouldn't. I'd keep mine.
Yeah, fair. I mean,
no. I do like Leon's team.
Yeah.
1980. I do like that team a lot. I think there's just terrific value across the board. Like there's two stud running backs there in Barkley and Taylor. Like me and you, we've already mentioned about Taylor, what he can do if Daniel Jones is under center. I love the pick of Jaden Daniels as his quarterback. Yeah. We know what he can do in the NFL. Garrett Wilson, obviously on the Jets. That's going to be interesting to see what happens with Fields there. As the quarterback, Devontae Smith has obviously got high upside in that. There's a lot of mouths to feed, though. That's the only thing I would worry about with the Devontae Smith pick there. And I suppose he has got Barkley as well. So I don't kind of like having two pieces of the offense like that myself. Especially if I've not got the quarterback. If I had Hurts in this team, then maybe I would like that a little bit more. Kelsey, like I said, I was hoping he'd get back to me with the stack with Mahomes. It didn't happen. Deebo Samuel, but he's got the stack there with Jaden Daniels and Deebo Samuel, which I do like. It's interesting to see what role Deebo Samuel will play in that Washington offense compared to what he was doing on the 49ers. And then again, I like the next two picks, Jaden Reed and Darnell Mooney. You know, that's not. You know, they're good wide receiver twos to have there, solid options. I do think he probably needs some running back help again now, though.
Yeah, I think that's fair. There's a couple of teams I like here. I like Joel's team. I'm not ever a big after tight end in round one, but if I was going to draft one, he is probably the one I would do. Do you know what I'm going to do, Joel? Before you pick, I'm going to just see if I can undo the computer's pick, only because I don't want him taking Jared Goff because he's already got a quarterback. I want this to be somewhat realistic. It's not going to let me do it. I'm picking for the computer, Joel. He can have Najee Harris. Because he needs a running back. He's obviously allergic to taking running backs. Yeah, I'm not letting him have Jared Goff and having two quarterbacks. That makes no sense. I think Joel's team's pretty good with Bowers. Not high on Cook, but you know, fine. I mean, to have a quarterback, a running back room of Cook and Hampton is fine. And he's got some decent receivers there. He's got Bo Nix at quarterback, nice and late, which I think is decent value. He's going to be competitive there, so I do like that. I do like the late build from Lucho in terms of the running backs. You know, he's got three stud wide receivers. I'm not in on the Porter, though. That's my one issue. To get Kyler feels good. The running backs he's got, if Trayvon gets a nod, is pretty good. And then Aaron's team's good. I like Achane and Kamara, pairing him with But I don't understand the Nakua and Adams pick is a bit weird to have both wide receivers from the same team.
Yeah.
I don't know if he sort of panicked, but the rest of that team is pretty good.
That's kind of my feelings with Leon with the Barkley and the Devontae Smith situation. I don't think I would have drafted Devontae Smith having taken Barkley where I took him. That's the only criticism really I have of Leon's team there.
I'm not letting the computer. Sorry.
I mean, I hate that last pick I just took there, which was Ayuk, but whatever. Like, I was rushing towards the end there. I'm quite happy with the Javonte Williams pick there. Even though I do think that Dallas offense is going to be very pass heavy this season.
Yeah. I've had to pick for the computer again. I've given him Tyler Warren. I just didn't want him having two quarterbacks this early. I don't know why he's allergic to running backs. I did give him Najee Harris and then Tyler Warren. So I tried to make his team a little bit interesting. He can't have all the receivers. Just to catch people up on where we were, you're at Mark Andrews at the 8-1, Bo Nix 8-2, Jacoby Myers 8-3 by the computer, Lucho, Ricky Pearsall 8-4, Tyron Tracy 8-5, Brian Robinson Jr. 8-6. I was hoping he was going to fall the 8-12. Great pick, Varley. Travis Etienne was the other player I was looking at. So Trayvon did well at 8-7. Diggs at 8-8. And these guys are slightly sort of above ADP, but I love reaching for them in the 8th round. I think it's perfect. Diggs at the 8-8 could be absolutely anything. Ramondre Stevenson at the 8-9. I am a little concerned he's not going to hold on to that job. Jaden Reed, the 8-10, just feels like one of those picks that's a little bit in trouble. I am a little concerned by it. But there we are. And then where were we? Juwan Jennings. Think he could be great for the first half of the season, but we'll see what happens in the second half of the season at the 8-11. I took Evan Ingram at the 8-12, followed by Michael Pittman, who for me has got top 15 upside.
You took him in Scott Fishbowl, and as soon as you took him, I said, I love that pick when you took him on the live draft. So if he'd got back to me somehow in that round, he was definitely coming on my team.
Yeah, I just think he's a player. In this range, I'm looking for players with top 15 upside, and I think he delivers that. Caleb Williams at the 9-2, which I really like as your quarterback. If you're going quarterback in this range, would I have had him over Kyler? No, but at least you're shooting for something with Caleb. He could be great. He might not be, but I'd rather take someone who has got that potential over, like I've seen Purdy go in the 9th round over Caleb Williams, and I'm like, I would rather go Williams and shoot for the moon there. So I do like that pick. Darnell Mooney 9-3 could be really interesting to see what they do with the Falcons this year. Justin Herbert 9-4 feels early, especially with that offense. Josh Downs 9-5. I just think he's in real trouble this year. I mean, Kurt will disagree with me, but Michael Pittman was injured last year. I think the ball will go to Michael Pittman, and in those they play a lot of 2 wide receiver sets. I just don't see Josh Downs getting as much work as people think he will. Kyle Pitts at the 9-6. I mean, I don't know why people are drafting Kyle Pitts in 2025, but here we are. Jonnu Smith in the tight end share in Pittsburgh at the 9-7. David Njoku at 9-8. I love, by the way. I think that's a phenomenal value pick at tight end. If I didn't go Ingram, I would have gone Njoku. And Njoku is actually higher in my ranks, but because I had Judy, I didn't want Njoku for the reasons that you sort of outlined. When you talked about Jaden Reed, Devonta Smith and Saquon Barkley, right? So I wanted to pivot there. Kyler Murray, Najee Harris.
The Bateman pick was a mistake. I wanted Kirk. I double-clicked it and it went Bateman Kirk. So it's fine, but it's...
I don't think that's a bad pick. I think Bateman's going to get more involved this year. I think in this range, I think he's going to give you some good bump. We're rattling through picks here. Najee Harris has made the computer take. The computer's taking Drake May. There's too many picks gone now. He's going to just have to keep him. He's got 2 tight ends as well, which is fine. We're in the late rounds. Golden, 9-11. Could be really interesting. I don't really know what to make of it. Like I have him being probably above consensus, but we'll see. Yeah. You've taken the last starting running back here in Javonte Williams at the 9-12, followed by Ayuk.
Yeah,
and then Bateman and Kirk.
Like I said with the Javonte Williams, I mean, he's certainly going to get the work in that Dallas offense, but I do think that Dallas offense is going to be very, very pass heavy this season. I don't know. I've got the running backs there to have a bit of a nightmare in my projections this season. I don't know about you, Murf, but he's the starter, so I've just took the volume guy at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think in the range where you're at, it's worth a spin, because I look at who's left and I think, yeah, there's no one here I really want, like desperately clawing for. And I think, as you say, if he stays healthy, he will offer some value. The guys behind him, Miles Sanders, James Blue, they're nothing to really be that worried about. No. It's just, can he stay healthy is the big question. Because if he can stay healthy, I think he'll be in a really good spot. But it's just, can he stay healthy is the big one. I'm just going to pick quickly. I'm not loving who is left at wide receiver, but he will be my wide receiver 6. So I might even. Here we got left on the board. Yeah. I'm just having a quick look. When you have to scroll this far down, probably not great. I don't want to take. See, Tillman, I would probably take, but I already have a receiver. It's auto pick me. Who did it auto pick me?
DJ Stroud.
Okay, I mean, fine.
What's your thoughts on him this season?
Pardon?
What's your thoughts on Stroud this season?
I'm really aggressive on Stroud this year. When I say aggressive, I have him like top 10, bottom of top 10. I'm fine. I'm fine with Stroud. I think he's there is going to be a bounce back. Here's my logic on him is the fact of what we saw in his rookie year. Are we going to see that again? I don't know, but he's not going to be as bad as he was last year. That line is the biggest question mark for me, is the offensive line. But I just think I look at the team there and think there's so many weapons, there's so much value. They can move the chains. There's been some coordinated changes. I think he will benefit from all of that. I just think it'll be a question now of, can the offensive line protect Stroud? So I have him around about QB 10. Yeah. I definitely have him over some of the QBs that have gone, so I don't feel too bad. He's autoed onto my team. I wouldn't have taken a second quarterback with Josh Allen, but the point is that if he does go off, I've got trade bait, so it's fine. I'm
the same as you. Again, redraft, especially a team like just 15 spots on it. I'm only taking one quarterback. I can tell you that now.
Oh yeah, and especially when you've drafted one as early as I have, and you've got the one that you have. I definitely wouldn't be drafting 2, but I ordered it. That's fine. I'm not going to change it.
That James's pick there, I had in my queue, Hollywood Brown, especially with the Rasheed Rice news.
100%. Again, would have taken him on the turn, but I had Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
So just didn't seem to make a lot of sense to take him. I'm just going to catch up some picks here. I'm not going to read through them all now. We're kind of into the 10th round. I'm going to highlight some picks that I really like and some players who so Tyler Warren at 10-3. Maybe a bit of a reach, but I think he's a player that holds top 8 tight end upside in that offensive big end, as we keep saying. It all depends on Daniel Jones. I like your Ayuk pick. I think it's around too early. I think you said it was a mistake, but
yeah,
I do think if he can come back by halfway, I think that's a really sort of astute pick, because I think you get wide receiver 1 potential out of him for the back half of the season, but he's going to sit on your. This is the league. If you had an IR spot, with Ayuk, I would love that pick. If there is not an IR spot, I'm not holding him for 10 weeks.
That's another thing. I'm not taking either, by the way, a kicker. I'm not taking.
No. So I've wrote about this in the playbook. Don't take kickers. Don't take tight ends. Don't take kickers. Don't take defenses, especially this early in draft season. If it's the week before you draft, then fine. I get it. But with all the preseason, take some guys. Go deep. Let's look at some sleepers. Some players some picks I really like. Austin Eckler at 12-6. Yeah. I really love that pick. I think there's so much value to be had in that pick. I really love the pick just made by Aaron. Wan'Dale Robinson at the 14-5, I think is a really sort of astute pick. If he stays healthy, I think is a really good pick. What about you? What are some picks that scream out to you? You think, I really like some of the picks that have been made here?
I'd say the Hollywood Brown one stands out just because of the news we got earlier. I'm like you. I'm highly invested with CJ Stroud. I think he can go back to the season that he had as a rookie. The Wan'Dale Robinson pick, like you've mentioned as well, I like that pick there. I'm just having to look up the board a little bit. Who else have we got here? Sorry, this is.
No, you're fine.
I'm just looking up the board. I like your pick of J.K. Dobbins. I've always been I'm a fan of J.K. Dobbins, but it's just if he can stay healthy. They've brought him in for a reason, and I do think he's going to still work on Harvey myself. And yeah, again, same as you, I like the Eckler pick. There's a lot of upside with Eckler. He's the pass catching back in that backfield as well. So there's a lot of that upside with Eckler.
Yeah, I really think so. I think there's a lot of upside there, taking him. It's just prompting me to pick. So
sorry, I'm just having a look myself.
So I'm probably going to take who I was going to take last time in Quentin Johnston. And I look at who's left, and there's no more. Pardon?
I like the Johnston pick, especially with the news that we got.
Yeah, the news we got earlier feels like a value. And then I would never normally do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to just bet on the other half of the Cleveland Browns backfield.
Yeah. And
take Dylan Sampson. It's the last pick of the draft for me. I'm going to have to cut someone at the start of the season anyway for kickers and defenses. So
yeah.
I now hold the backfield if Judkins hasn't signed a contract. So really then he's not with the team if that situation continues to go downhill. So when I first heard it, it didn't look like it was going to be a thing. But it sounds like the more stuff that's coming out that it really could be. And so, yeah, give me the whole backfield that's behind him. And then I'm bound to end up with the starter, and then I can cut the other one for a kicker or a tie. That's kind of my logic with that pick. Final picks coming in now. You went Nick Chubb. Talk to me about your thoughts on Nick Chubb.
Mixon is getting older. I know, Chubb is very, very injury prone. Mixon's getting older. He's a bit banged up already. It's just a flyer down there again. So these last two picks for me are just complete and utter flyers. I'm like you. If it's clear that Nick Chubb is not going to be healthy to start the season, or he may not even make the team, who knows? I would just cut him and cut my losses and get my kicker and defense that I'm going to need to start the season. It's the same reasons as you there with Sampson and your Johnston's pick as well, in a way. I'm going to end the draft with someone that I quite like this season. There's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense, but I'm going to take. It's a high-powered offense, and it's got an elite quarterback there. So here we go. Here's the pick. It's a tight end.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it would have been sad if he hadn't been drafted. I felt that would have made some sense. You have ended up with two tight ends, which is not something I thought you would do often. But I think with the value, as you say there, and again, you've got the cut fodder there. So, I think this has been a really interesting draft. I'm proud of the chat. 4 kickers taken, including one by the computer, 3 defenses taken, including one by the computer. So, I feel like people have seen the value in not taking kickers and defense, especially this early in the season, as we sort of said. Final review then, in terms of this board, who are you a fan of? If you had to swap your team for someone, whose team would you swap for? And then who? Go on. I always like this question. It's a hard one. Who do you think has? Forget the computer, because the computer's thinking not taking running backs. Who do you think would be in trouble if this was a real league?
Well, probably me, to be honest. See, I really did like Leon's draft up till the Darnell Mooney pick, and then there's a lot of stuff there that I'm not a fan of.
I just think he's taking shots. So Higgins is a shot, Spears is a shot. I guess he's the starting tight end there in the offense, and he's gone for the stacks. He's played that as a sort of a best ball stack. So I don't hate it. The Love pick, I mean, I wouldn't have taken a second QB. I know I have, but I wouldn't have. The Neil pick, I just think he's. Yeah, I mean, he could be the guy behind Kamara, so why not? You've taken a shot. Miles Sanders, you're taking the shot behind Javonte injury. Again, cut fodder. I get the end of the picks, actually, because I think he's just taking shots. So, and again, you're cutting 2. So, I think you could. I just think because you already had Kelsey, the Ertz pick is the one I'd be like, yeah. The Ertz is the only pick there I kind of not really. And I think Higgins is a bit high, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, I'm just going through the teams now. I mean, I love your pick. There's a lot of. I mean, me and you draft so similar.
We do.
Like Pittman and Shaheed. I mean, again, Shaheed's another guy that I've got in my Scott Fishbowl team.
So,
I love the Dobbins pick. I already explained that. Ford, you've just literally locked up the Cleveland backfield, which I get. I like the Johnson's pick, because that can be boom or bust. We've already mentioned about Stroud. To be honest, if I was going to swap a team, and it is boring, but I would probably swap it with yours because me and you draft very similar.
We do draft similarly. I try to be a little different. I don't love my Aaron Jones pick, but it is what it is. For 30 seconds per pick, you've got to be prepared. There's a few teams I like here. I like Kurt's draft. I don't love the Hawkinson pick, but fine.
Yeah.
But I like the rest, and I don't love the Downs pick, but I love the rest of it.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot there I like. Thielen's a bit washed for me at 12-8, but again, he's kind of picked guys who could ascend into situations, which I like. I think he's the only thing I would say with that team is you got a lot of front end, like high caliber, and then the bottom end feels a little safe.
Yeah.
In terms of Ferguson to shoehorn in behind Hawkinson, McCarthy to back up Burrow, Thielen. It feels like that range there felt safe when you could have. I look at the players that were in around that range, like Hopkins or, I look at Eckler. These were players I probably would have taken over them. I think it would have given them a bit more acceleration.
I don't mind the Hawkinson pick as much, but what I didn't really like with that team was the fact that they took Ferguson a bit later on. I know I've said that the Dallas offense is going to be a bit more pass heavy. If that was the case, maybe I wouldn't have took Hawkinson as early as he took him. Maybe he should have took James Conner there, and then I would have liked the Ferguson pick. But then he took Ferguson later. If he didn't take Ferguson, I'm just looking at guys that have come after Ferguson. See, I would have took someone. I've already mentioned it. I think the Seahawks going to be really run heavy. I would have took the gamble on the Zach Charbonnet over Ferguson there when I've already got the stud tight end in Hawkinson.
Yeah. I like Varley's team. Gibbs, Brown, Hurts feels really good. Kittle, I like there at 4-6. I mean, he's got some legal issues with Rice and Judkins. But if he swerves them and Dunze Robinson, who I love, I hate the Johnny Smith pick. Sorry, mate.
I agree. I don't like that pick.
I don't like that pick at all, but whatever. I mean, if you think he's going to usurp Freer move, then fine, I get it. But again, especially when you got Kittle, I would have just swerved. Igbuka, I don't think he's going to do a lot this year, but I mean, like, you're buying into a good offense, why not? If Godwin goes down, he becomes something significant. The White pick again, if Irvin gets injured, could be decent. Eckler, I love. Brown, I guess, to cover your Rice pick, and then I mean you've gone kicker and defense. I mean, makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't, but I'm not going to kill anyone who does that. And Aaron's draft is good
before the season. You don't. Yeah, if he's done this a week before the season, then it's fine.
Yeah. And I like Aaron's draft. I don't get the 2 wide receivers from the same team, but if I was to ignore that and the Jalen Waddle pick, Calvin Ridley could be something. Caleb Johnson, I like the second half of the draft a lot more than the first half. Like, I really like Robinson. If you're going to take a shot on a wide receiver in round 15, I think you could do worse than Dobbs. I don't think it's going to happen for him, but with round 15 is a cuttable guy. Like, if I had to pick a shot of who was left, he's a pretty good one. I like the Palmer pick. I think he could be something there. Goddard, I like. I've always thought there's a top 5 wide tight end season somewhere in there. If he can put it together. And he's gone with the safe and upside QB. Like, if you're going to take 2 QBs, I quite like having one of them be Fields, because he's either going to be awful or he's going to be great for fantasy.
Yeah.
And then you've got the stability of someone like Brock Purdy who will just chop in a quarterback 10 seasons. So if you're going to take two, that's a nice combo to sort of have there. But I think, if you'd not taken two wide receivers from the same team in the top 3 picks, I probably would have liked that team a lot more. But I like Kurt's team. Farley's team I quite like. I like Joel's team. Joel's team, I think, is a bit of me. A lot of rookies, but
yeah,
I don't get the Cooper pick, but it's round 15. Like, you're going to cut him. If he lands on the team next week, then you're laughing, right? Like, if he lands on the team and he improves.
I think I would have took a chance on Keenan Allen, to be honest, if I was going to have a free agent out there, because I think.
Well, Cooper's younger, isn't he? He's younger, and he's. I don't think he's going to cost as much. So I get that.
I could see Allen back with the Chargers after the news we got earlier.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, but it is a different coaching setup and team, though. But it'd be interesting. True. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I like the Marvin Mims pick for upside. I like the Tootin pick, like the Scatterbo pick. Like, I think there's some stuff in here, like the Golden pick.
Yeah,
I think there's some stuff in there, like shooting your shot is good. And the Rico Dowdle pick, I think, is great in that range. The McMillan pick for me probably is a bit of a busted flush. But yeah, I think there's lots of things there. Nivek Fed went very wide receiver heavy after taking his 2 running backs. Has got a nice little pool to come through. But yeah, I mean that's a pretty, like, I guess what I call like a textbook draft. It doesn't excite me, but it's a very, like, it's a playoff team draft.
I like that draft, but like you say, the very wide receiver heavy in the middle there. But then Charbonnet, who I've already mentioned, I like that. I'm not, outside of Williams, I'm not really invested in the Dallas backfield at all. But so I don't particularly like that pick. But I like the Kareem Hunt at the end there. That's, anything happens to Pacheco or anything like that. We see Kareem Hunt still work off of him last season anyway. So I quite like Kareem Hunt at the end of the draft there from him.
Trable's draft is interesting because it kind of starts really well. Like, first six rounds, I'm all over it, right? Neighbors, Jackson, McLaurin, Pacheco, Connor, Godwin.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's phenomenal to start. Loveland in 7 feels a reach, but if you think he's the guy, fine. Yeah. Etienne at 8, I love, because I think he's the start and they run the wheels off. And then it all goes a little weird. Pitts at 9, don't get. Goff at 10, don't get. Hopkins, I feel, is early there. And again,
I feel that's very early.
I feel like with the players you could have got, Kyle Williams, Rashard Bateman, Christian Kirk, these are all players I probably would have taken. I would have taken Quentin Johnston over him. I would have probably taken Tillman over him. Wan'Dale Robinson for sure. Hollywood Brown, news of today. These are all players I would have taken. Freiermuth, I think, is a terrible pick. Like, sorry, mate, but I don't like that. Same with Roschon. I don't love that pick either. Like, I don't even think he's the second back on that team.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you drew the line at like pick 8 and gone like, okay, just take some shots, then I'd have been like, yeah, cool. Like, if he'd gone and taken, like, I'm going to take a few like scat backs who might ascend, and I might just take a couple of like deep wide receivers who might do something, I would have gone like, yeah, cool. But I kind of feel like the first 8 picks are so good. It's like gone off the rails. And Mitch is cool. He's only been drafted in a couple of years. So I want to give him a shout out because he's quite new to fantasy. He came from like one of my rookie leagues. And I like the start. And again, I like taking the shot on Olave. I like Sutton.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison could be great. Like, who knows? And then again, kind of first 6 picks, I'm like, yeah, I'm all over it. And then it kind of goes a bit. I don't love the Swift pick. I don't like the Stevenson pick. I'm not a big fan of Herbert pick. Yeah. I don't mind the Tucker Kraft pick, but as you say, that offense is questionable. Then it gets better. Then I like the end of the draft. I like the Coleman, Burden, Davis, Leggett, and even the Penix pick. I kind of like how that ended. It just, there's 4 rounds in the middle. I feel like, well, 3 rounds. Just like Swift, Stevenson, and Herbert. I mean, and Swift's not terrible because he's a starter. But I'd have rather had Tony Pollard. I just feel like it could, like, if you swapped Kurt's 7th and 8th rounds with Mitch's 7th and 8th rounds, considering they're next to each other, I'd say Mitch might have had the best draft other than the Herbert pick.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
It's just those two picks, but I don't think anyone's done terribly other than the computer, who did a terrible job.
Well, at least you didn't write Martin.
No, I think everyone did well. I appreciate everyone. There's a few people who have dropped in the chat. Apologies. Michael went, as a Packers fan, I find it very hard to think of any of the players on offense as super fantasy relevant. That's fair. He went, I was feeling very clueless in those rounds. Yeah, I mean, fair. But I mean, I think this has been a fun exercise. Again, this is why I like doing these. I'll clip them out. I'll put them onto socials. People can have a look. I'll take a picture of the board. I'll put that out too. Yeah. And we got it done in under an hour, which is pretty good too for us. That never normally happens. So, mate, I really appreciate you jumping on and doing this with me. And I've had a lot of fun drafting with you. I always do. We need to probably do a league, you and I, together, so we can cannibalize each other. And
you might be the only person that wants to draft with me ever, to be honest.
Mate, I love it. It'd be great. I think we'll have a great time. Everyone else might have a miserable time, but I think you and I will have a great time.
Just as long as we're not drafted next to each other, we'll be sniping each other the whole time.
We'll be killing each other's value like galore. Yeah, but tell us a little bit. I tell you what, before we go, tell everyone about the golf stuff. It is the Open this weekend, so tell everyone about who you think's going to win the Open, what, and sort of some of the content you've been putting together over recent times, and yeah, maybe what some things to look out for the Open this week, and then also just your content in general, what you're doing for. You say it's going into a bit of a quiet period, but what you're doing for the rest of the
year. Yeah, so I mean, I've already put up my betting spreadsheet, which is just NFL depth charts. I track all the injuries through the season. What I'm going to be doing into it is pulling my projections into it, and then trying to identify which is what I've mentioned a few of the offenses tonight, what I think they're going to do this season, like the Seahawks and the Cowboys, for example. But I'm going to try and identify who's going to be run heavy to start the season, who I think will be run heavy. But I'm going to try and pull that into the betting sheet so people can start using the betting sheet to make their own picks. Unfortunately, the bets that I do make for those anytime touchdown bets, you have to be very quick. Like I've explained this situation to people before, but I have notifications on from Schefter. As soon as an injury happens, I look straight on the betting sites, try and find the anytime touchdown values or the two touchdowns. I find it works better with running backs, as I've mentioned before with it. But you can find more of that. You can find more details within my sheet and how to use the sheet. But yeah, I'm updating that daily at the minute. I write a newsletter every week for golf. So my newsletter is completely free. It's on Substack. If you want to sign up to that, it's completely free to sign up. I just preview the golf course that the PGA Tour are playing on that week. I look at some stats that I'm using when I'm building my models for golf, and then I explain my betting picks on it, basically. So that's completely free, but there's also going to be NFL content come out. I want to be able to do a weekly NFL newsletter as well. As I said, the golf season after this week will kind of calm down a bit. It's still going to go ahead a little bit, like 3 or 4 more weeks before we get to the playoffs there, but it does calm down quite a lot after the Open, as you can imagine. And for the Open, Murf, I think Rory's going to win it. I've been told that he can't play in the wind, even though he's from Northern Ireland, which just baffles me. But whatever. I think we end the golf season how we started it, with Rory winning another major. I'm very confident that he's going to do it. He played well today. He finished 1 under. It just come up on my phone actually. So he's there or thereabouts at the minute. Unfortunately, you might get bigger odds on him. I only got him at 7-1 before the Open started, so you might get better in-play odds now. I would have a look myself after this, but yeah, he's the one I think is going to win it. And but yeah, that's where you can find all my work. I'm on Twitter at JH4Domedia. Come over there if you like a laugh. I do tweet some funny stuff every now and then.
You do.
And then there's all my content there as well. Like I say, all my content's completely free. And the only thing I ask is people just retweet it, because I do it for love. And, you know, to be fair, like me and you had this chat the other day, content as well as playing golf has really helped me over the last sort of 7 months with my mental health. So.
Yeah, definitely do that. Subscribe to Jack's work, subscribe to the newsletter, share the love. Really, really important thing to do. He's putting out great work. I am no expert on golf, although I will take the field over Rory any day of the week and twice on Sunday. I am actually really secretly hoping for Justin Rose to win this week. I think he had a great Masters. He shot bogey-free today, 69.
Yeah, he had a good round. So he was 2 under par today. So.
Yeah, and bogey-free as well, which I think is great. I think I just remember watching Justin Rose as an amateur when he was 17, and he won. He went quite close. He finished 4th, I think, overall on the leaderboard. He had a really good tournament.
That famous shot of him playing video. Sorry, he plays the golf ball off the wall. Which is just typical Link stuff. But it's he in his famous red sweater. I think that was like 99.
Yeah, it was pre-2000s for sure, because he's in his 40s now. So, 97, 98 maybe. It wasn't 99, because 99 was Jean Van der Velde.
Yes. No,
again, right. Another one I'll never forget is Jean Van der Velde throwing 6 shots away on the final hole.
Yes, you're right.
and then I think Callaway, was it Callaway? I can't remember. Don't hold me to this. I think it was someone like Callaway who... they gave him, I think they offered him like 75 grand if he could play the 18th at Carnoustie in under 13 shots with just his putter. And he did. He shot a 12.
Oh my God. Oh wow! I think he'd rather have the claret jug, but yeah.
Well, but he threw that away in spectacular fashion.
The one that stands out for me is 2009 when Tom Watson, at 59 years old, went to a playoff with Stuart Sink, and Stuart Sink unfortunately beat him. I mean,
I was going to say most unpopular winner of all time.
Yes, most definitely. I think everyone wanted Tom Watson that day at 59 years old. Would have been the oldest major winner ever, but. That honour belongs to Phil Mickelson now. So
yeah, who might win it this week? He had a good start.
He may well do.
Classic stuff. Well, look, thank you so much for joining me on this, buddy. Really appreciate you. Make sure you check out all of Jack's work over on the X Machine and give him a follow. He's doing great stuff, and I'm sure Jack won't mind me saying this, but if you're having some struggles similar to what he talked about at the top of the show, I know his DMs are open. I'm sure he'll have a chat and offer support, as will I, and I'm sure many other people over all over the world will as well. So you're not alone. People have gone through their own struggles before. So reach out, speak to those who you love or whoever you can to share those, because it's really important message Jack shared at the top. But that's going to do it. Going to have a couple of great guests over the next few weeks as well. We'll probably try and squeeze another one of these live drafts in as well. And get us ready. Football is very close to being back. Really enjoyed having you on, Jack, and doing this show. Thank you to all the people that joined the live as well. Please hit the subscribe button. YouTube has gone gangbusters over the last few weeks. So if you're new to the show, give me some content suggestions of what you want to see on the channel. But yeah, we're going to keep growing. We're going to keep doing bits and pieces. We're going to have the NFL show with Joel and the gang dropping soon as well. But until then, Rush Nation, don't forget, as always, keep rushing.